Welcome back, friends and friendsettes, for another installment of Velvet Owl Watches Movies so you don't have to. One interesting thing I've been noticing a trend, at least on the YouTube page, is that the videos that are shorter, the half hour, the ones that end up being about half hour, have like no views, whereas the longer ones get views. And I don't know if it's a matter of just the film isn't like well known enough or people don't care about it, or if people just don't like the shorter format. So let me know in the comments or email me velvetowl@hotmail.com. Do you like the new format, or do you like the older one where it was just straight up uh, running audio commentary as the movie was going on, which is a lot less time consuming for me, ironically enough, but I feel it isn't quite as good because there's a lot of dead spots. So, yeah, hit me up. Let me know what you think. This week's movie is called Curse of the Queerwolf. And the description for it is a man questions reality after he's bitten by what he thinks is a crossdresser and begins to hallucinate while reacting strangely to full moons. Now, this is a late 80s comedy, so you know that they're going to handle the subject of transgenderism very, very subtly and very, very respectfully. And I don't know if you can catch in my voice, but that is pure sarcasm. 'Cause this is probably going to be a horribly offensive movie. But will it be a funny movie? So we start off with a woman in the 90 being chased. And I think she's a woman, but kind of what they say makes it seem like maybe it is the crossdresser. Um, but I don't know. Looks like a woman to me. If it is a man, very probably a very strong case for transgenderism being real, which it is. I'm just saying this makes a very strong case because it looks like a woman. So I'm assuming it's a woman. She's being chased by a torch wielding mob. I don't know if you could call them a mob since there's only four of them, but they are wielding torches. And this has to be like the calmest, most respectful torch wielding mob that I've ever seen. They're just walking slowly after her, no yelling. One of them is a priest. They finally corner her. They do the priest does the rites of the cross, and then they stake her with a wooden stake. And one of them says, "Now he is a beast," which is why I think, okay, was that meant to be a crossdresser? Because it looked like a woman to me. The song that plays under the opening credits is actually kind of catchy in a cheesy 80s synth sort of way. Um, I might have to look up who that is and, download the MP3 if one such exists. So now we're flashing back in time to one night earlier, and there's these two guys at a strip club, very low rent strip club, and there's a stripper dancing, which one of the guys refers to as a prime piece of poon. So classy, classy guys. Um, I'm gonna call them glasses perv and non-glasses perv because I think that's probably going to be about the extent of their personalities. On the car ride home, the two perverts are having a discussion, and we learn of a moral quandary that non-glasses perv finds himself in. See, he's really in love with his girlfriend, which makes him feel bad about having sex with other girls. So, he tries to keep it on the sly so that she doesn't like see it. She doesn't see him banging other women, so he has to use Glasses Perv, his house. Glasses Perv, he doesn't mind cheating on his girlfriend and will have sex with other women while his girlfriend's actually in the room. So I don't know if it actually qualifies as cheating. So I think they're swingers. So, but I mean, I could kind of buy non-glasses perv as no. Actually, I think glasses perv is probably more likely to want to be the swinger because he has glasses. He has those '80s glasses that makes him look completely uh 80s porn guy looking. He just needs the mustache to complete the look. So I think, like, yeah, maybe he is banging several women. Non-glasses perv seems a little too, like, nerdy. So, but apparently he gets quite a bit of tail. He just feels bad about it because he's in love with his girlfriend. And so non-glasses pervert comes home to his girlfriend who's falling asleep while she's watching TV. So he turns off the remote and he gets it on. And by gets on, he goes down on her because, well, apparently he told her that he was working late. Didn't want to tell her that he was at the strip club with glasses pervert. So I don't know how much of a honest, open relationship they have if he has to lie to her about being at a strip club. I mean, he claims that she knows he's sleeping with other women, so why would she be mad about a strip club? But, she tells him that her little kitty cat missed him, so he went down to say hi to that kitty cat. Yeah, that's the level of dialogue we've got going on in this film. And it's the next morning, and non-glasses pervert's brushing his teeth because he's about good hygiene, and his girlfriend hops in the shower, and yes, this film, with 10 minutes within, we get tits, so it passes the Velvet Owl test of needing tits within the first 15 minutes of the film. And so he jumps into the shower with her, and he goes down on her, or, I'm sorry, she goes down on him, because, fair is fair, he went down on her the night before. You give, you get. It's like Paul McCartney said, the more you give, the more you get. I'm pretty sure he was talking about oral with that line. Who knows? I can never figure out the secret meaning of Beatles songs. But while this action's going on, the phone rings, and non-glasses pervert answers it. Now keep in mind, this is the 80s, so it's not that he has a cell phone there in the bathroom. It's a landline. What the fuck is he doing with a landline in the bathroom to begin with? And he answers it while still in the shower, and it's his friend Glasses Pervert, who's got all sorts of nudie magazines just spread out in front of him, because I guess that's what you do. I mean, I haven't, used, 20 magazines at once since I was, 15. I like to focus on just one. But even, with having the whole spread of 500 magazines in front of him, I would never think to call my friend. You call either before or after you're done looking at nudie magazines. I mean, I thought that was the rule. I guess the 80s was a much different time. And so he invites his friend to go out to a bikini contest, which non-glasses pervert accidentally says yes to because he was getting a blowjob, and so he was saying, yes, yes, oh yes. And so now that he's roped into having to go to this bikini contest, non-glasses pervert won't tell his girlfriend where he's going after work today, just that it's a guy thing and that she can't go. So, obviously he must have lied earlier when saying they had an open relationship, because if he can't tell her that he's going to a titty bar, and she's thinking he's having an affair possibly. So, dude, just tell her you're going to the titty bar. She's not gonna get upset. And if she does, she's not the right woman for you. But, just be honest about it. Most women really, I can't say most women. I'm not really the guy to go for advice on women, but the woman you should be with should be okay with you going to an occasional titty bar. At the same time, you should be okay with bringing her to the titty bar if she wants to go. That's what love is about. The shared enjoyment of titty bars. And non-glasses pervert is trying to get out of the house and go to work, but, he's still kind of angry with this fight with his girlfriend. So angry that he walks out of the house without pants. Which, I mean, we've all been there, right? Your mind is so preoccupied, you forget to put on pants. Luckily, he realized it in time to come back in and get those pants. Because I've before have gotten all the way to work without pants, which is just, I just go, fuck it. Here I am, all my glory. Don't judge me. You're no better. But he's still arguing with his girlfriend, and then, he's playing with his dog, and his girlfriend's jealous because he seems to like the dog more. And, dude, why are you making a fight with your girl? She just gave you a blowjob. That means you have no right to complain about anything for at least 24 hours. That's how it works. And this isn't just like for a girlfriend thing. If you have a boyfriend, it's the same thing. If you're with someone and they put your dick in their mouth, then you have no right to complain about anything from them for the next 24 hours. Those are the rules. I don't make the rules. I just think that the world will be a better place if we follow those rules. But since he's complaining and fighting with her after a blowjob, Karma kicks him in the ass and he runs over his dog while backing up. And it seems to be no big deal. And so they've arrived at work, because both of the perverts work together at some place. It looks like there's some sort of therapist or technicians or something, because they've got the lab coats on. And we see the glasses pervert. He's in the room with a fat lady, and there's a bunch of snacks in front of her. And every time she goes for a snack, he hits the buzzer to give her an electric shock. So I'm guessing he's trying to help her lose weight, to get that thing, where you get in your mind that Twinkie's going to hurt you, so you don't go for the Twinkie. Electroshock therapy, which I thought by the 80s they would have realized that doesn't work, but apparently not. Apparently they were still doing it to get fat ladies to stop eating snacks. But he gets into a fight on the phone with Non-Glasses Pervert, because Non-Glasses Pervert doesn't want to go to the titty bar tonight because, he just got into a fight with his girlfriend, and he thinks it would be a bad idea. And it makes Glasses Pervert so angry that he forgets to take his hand off the electroshock buzzer, and fat lady just gets fried. But Non-Glasses Pervert decides to join his Glasses Pervert friend to go to the bar. I thought they were going to a titty bar, but it looks like just a regular bar that seems to be having some sort of ladies' night. And they're going to try to hook up with some ladies. At least Glasses Pervert's trying. Non-Glasses Pervert, he'd rather go back home to his girl. And I think he should follow his gut on that one. But Glasses Pervert's wearing like one of those like really tacky wedding band tuxes, which I don't know if that's going to really help his chances, because he seems to have no game at all. So I'm doubting his earlier claim that he bangs all these women. And I also doubt his earlier claim of him having a girlfriend. I don't know. I don't trust Glasses Pervert. And he's going to bring Non-Glasses Pervert down. And you know what? I think they both deserve whatever's coming to them tonight. And so, despite his complete lack of game, Glasses Pervert does manage to convince a couple of girls to go home with them, and they split off into pairs. And Non-Glasses Pervert is with the girl we saw earlier running through the streets in her lingerie. So they're going through that awkward period where they're trying to make small talk before they have sex, and the radio in the room starts reading a news bulletin about how there's a new strain of VD out there. Which to me, I think that would have been a mood killer. Like, hey, you guys about to have sex. There's a new sexually transmitted disease you have to worry about. I mean, that's just me, but apparently that set the mood because they want to fuck now. But she has something that she has to tell him first. What can the secret be? However, she's unable to bring herself to tell him what that secret is, because he's just gone through a whole guessing list of things, and somehow, like, she just kind of, it makes her not want to tell him, because, I mean, the things he's guessed, are fairly, I think, legitimate things to wonder if she has, like if she's married or has any sort of diseases like gonorrhea and syphilis. So I don't think she should be offended by the fact that he's asking those when she's the one who already set up the idea that she has something that she's holding back that might make him nervous about doing it. But he doesn't really care anyhow. So my guess is she's a queer wolf and she's about to turn him into a queer wolf. And I think he completely deserves it. Because A, he's cheating on his girl. And then B, she's got some mysterious secret and he doesn't care. He's just gonna be like, fuck it. I'm gonna fuck you. Even though you have a secret that you've already implied that would make me not want to fuck you. And then she bites him. So yeah, I'm thinking this is where the queer wolf transformation happens. And so, he starts caressing her and taking her clothes off and, well, not really taking her clothes off, but he feels down there because, he wants to get to third base. But surprise, surprise, and a boing sound effect. Yes, she has a dick. She is a chick with a dick. And of course, since this is late 80s comedy, it's just fucking hilarious, isn't it? Oh my god, the gay panic and he goes crazy and Glasses Pervert thinks it's funny because his friend just got bit on the ass by a guy dressed like a chick. And it's just hilarious. And Non-Glasses Perv threatens to bash. I see, should I say his or her? This is a legitimate question. Because, it's supposedly a guy, but everything's been presented as a girl, and I'm pretty sure it is a woman actually playing the role. So I'm gonna go with her. So Non-Glasses Pervert threatens to bash her head in, because, oh boy, 1980s. So, yeah, this makes me glad that he's fucking bit and is gonna become a queer wolf, because he is fucking homophobic, transphobic asshole, and I hope he dies. But the attempted gay bashing, literal gay bashing, gets interrupted by a knock on the door, and it is the most ruly, polite mob of torch wielders that we saw earlier, who, seriously, just so polite. They just kind of come in and said, explain that there's a queer wolf. One of them is the queer wolf's dad, and just, letting them know, and they're on their merry way. Just not even angry. I'm intrigued by this mob. If it weren't for the fact that they were against the queer wolf, I would actually probably kind of join this mob. If, say, like, they were anti-Nazi or something. They're very polite. And Queer Wolf's dad gives Non-Glasses Pervert a warning that if anything happened, even the strongest wrist can go limp at night. And, I'd like to think that even at the time, this movie probably was really super offensive to people. But it's the late 80s, so I'm guessing just people found this hilarious. Or maybe not. Maybe since this movie is so terribly made, people were like, yeah, fuck no. Which would be for the best. Say fuck no to this film. Which unfortunately I still have like an hour left in this film to watch. But Non-Glasses Pervert gets mad and he storms back home. And Glasses Pervert decides, fuck it, let's finish fucking with his girl, who is most definitely a girl because he did check and she does not have wang. She is 100% girl. And so Non-Glasses Pervert goes back home to his girl, who has gotten a new puppy because she felt bad that he ran over his dog that morning. So, no time to grieve. Let's go and get a new puppy right away. Which I think is always a bad decision. You do not replace a pet that quickly. You gotta take the time to grieve and be prepared and just kind of go through that grief. You your dad dies, you don't go to the dad shop and get a new dad that afternoon, you know? I'm just saying, like, a pet is like a family. Take the time to grieve before you go and get a new pet. So then they get it on because, the Queerwolf has just given him a bad case of blue balls. I mean, Non-Glasses Pervert gets it on with his girlfriend, not with the dog. I just realized that the way I structured that sentence could makes it sound like he got it on with the puppy. No, there's no bestiality in this film so far that I know of. But now it does lead me to a question. If a queer wolf were to bite a woman, how does that affect her? Does she then become a queer wolf? And does that mean she starts dressing like a man and pretending she's a man? Which, does she like grow stubble? She has to start shaving. She starts watching football. Those are interesting questions. And somehow I doubt that this subtle, nuanced, intelligent film is going to really go into the effects of what happens when a queer wolf bites a woman. And now Non-Glasses Pervert then has a dream that he's just frolicking in the woods when suddenly a couple of inbred hicks come up to him. They're missing teeth and they've got shotguns. And I think you can guess where this is going to go. Yes, they say that they want him to squeal like a pig. Yes, a Deliverance parody, which, I think there's not enough Deliverance parodies. We've only got, like 5 million of them? 5,000,001, if you include this movie. So they start chasing him, and instead of dueling banjos, there's a parody of the Beverly Hillbillies theme song. And, this movie came out when I think I was 7 or 8. So I probably would have found this hilarious back then. Not so much right now. I mean, the concept of a Beverly Hillbillies parody playing over a Deliverance parody, actually that's kind of a funny idea. The execution of it's just so poor. But, it's a nightmare, so he wakes up and he goes to turn to his girlfriend and, oh no, it's one of those hillbilly hicks. Ha ha ha. It was a scare fake out. He didn't really wake up, but now he did wake up. And on the news the next morning, a reporter that looks like Alex Trebek tells about a news report of how Queerwolf has been murdered, except they don't know it's a Queerwolf. They just know it's a man in women's clothes. And no one wants to do an autopsy because, ha ha ha, it's the 80s and people hate gay people. I mean, obviously not all people, because gay people wouldn't hate gay people. At least not for being gay. But, you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry, right now there's a huge fucking bee outside my window, and I'm really scared that it's gonna make its way in. And, the fucker is huge. It's a huge fucking bee. So, at the workplace, doctor... Is he a doctor? Glasses Pervert is with a patient who looks kind of like Archie Bunker, and I think he wants to quit smoking, so he gets a gas mask full of cigarette smoke attached to him or something. I don't understand these therapy practices that they're doing here, but it's interrupted by a detective from the homicide division. Not homicide, homicide. Ha, yuck, 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 yuck. God, I hate this movie so fucking much. It's a... I don't know. I mean, this seems kind of... It's attempting to be trauma with, just a lot of the really bad, gross out, offensive humor, but doesn't have the heart of trauma. Because, say what you will about trauma films, Lloyd Kaufman actually does infuse them with some heart. It comes from a good place. You can feel good about them. This film is just terrible. But so the homicide detective, they investigate gay people because reasons. And we see non-glasses perv at a newsstand, and he's looking through the porn mags, and he just can't go for any of the women mags. He has to go for the gay mag with naked men because he is now the homo. He is a queer wolf. And non-glasses perv is now driving around, but he gets distracted because it seems every station on the radio has something to do with being gay. And so it's just too much for him, and he accidentally runs over a gypsy. Or am I supposed to say Romani now? I'm not clear on that one. Like, I understand, like gypsy is kind of like offensive, but at the same time, isn't gypsy like a like certain subset of Romanians? Um, I don't know. We're gonna go with gypsies, and we're just gonna say that it's in the tradition of this film being completely offensive. And in the future, I will try to figure out which is the best way that I'm supposed to say it. But we'll say gypsy. And the gypsy sees in his hand the symbol of a pansy flower, which tells her that he is now a queer wolf, or a dickanthrope, as she says. Which dickanthrope is half clever. It's halfway clever. I'll give the film that much. And she tries to warn him, but he just won't listen because he doesn't want to hear about how he is now a queer wolf. So back at home, non-glasses pervert's girlfriend is going out on a girls' night to the movies, but she invites him along because he seems pretty down, but he tells her that he'll be okay. So she goes off, and while she's gone, he puts on a record, a very bad blues rock record, where the guy's saying, "I am a man. Doo 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 doo. I am a man." Which actually is probably better than like half of the blues rock albums out there. And he's standing in front of the mirror, all shirtless, trying to look all buff and macho, except he's not very macho, but A for effort, I guess. And then his girlfriend calls, says she's gonna be late because they're gonna go out to get something to eat after the movies. But that's okay because he's watching a bad movie on TV himself about skeletons or something. And now it looks like the full moon is coming out. So it's the full moon, and non-glasses pervert goes through the transformation of becoming the queer wolf with some very bad special effects of his nails growing long and red, and him getting, women's makeup on, and suddenly an earring appears in his ear, and a handkerchief comes out of his back pocket, which, in case you don't know, that's a code for when gay people are cruising on the streets. You have the handkerchief in a certain pocket in a certain color, and it'll let other gay people know, like, what you're into. I don't know if that's something that's still done, but I mean, that was very much a thing back in like the 80s and stuff. So he has become the queer wolf, and then it's the next day. So I don't know if he actually did anything as the queer wolf, and if he's back to normal. He wakes up in a bathhouse with just a towel around him, while there's several men all wearing just towels, and they all give him a thumbs up. So I guess that's what he did as on his night as the queer wolf, was go to a bathhouse, and I'm imagining having a big orgy with all these men. Which I guess, I mean, so to me, the curse of the queer wolf really isn't that bad, because it looks like you don't go on a murderous rampage, you just have sex with men. But I think it would have been kind of cooler if the movie had him change and replaced with an actress, like a woman, like the other queer wolf. She was a woman, and like because he was a guy, she was a guy, or man, I don't know if I should go with he or she, just because technically he was a guy that turned into a woman because of the queer wolf course, and then had sex with men, so technically wasn't really a queer, unless we're going queer as far as broadening the scope as it does now. But back in the 80s, where queer meant simply gay. So, yeah, now I'm curious about this curse of the queer wolf. So it turns some men into women and other men just into gay men. Maybe, maybe he'll run into that gypsy again, and she can explain further. And he gets home. His girlfriend's been worried sick about him, and she doesn't know if he left her or if he was in an accident or if he had just gone and off with some other woman for the night. And I mean, I guess she must know because he tells her that he's not going to do that anymore and that he doesn't know what happened to him the night before, but that he's no longer going to be sleeping with random women, which is good. It's about time. Although, I mean, I guess if he was open about it and she was okay with it, I don't know. I can't tell because earlier it seemed like he wasn't open about it. And that's why I hated him. And I still hate him. And especially now, because first off, he decides he's going to make a sandwich with mayonnaise, which, ew. And then he's going to microwave that sandwich with mayonnaise, mind you. He's fucking microwaving a sandwich that has mayonnaise. But he's not paying attention, and his puppy, which is like the 5th puppy I've seen. I don't know if they keep dying or if there's just some running joke of a new puppy each time. But the puppy, because he's hungry for the sandwich, gets into the microwave without non-glasses pervert seeing it, and he microwaves the puppy. Which, I mean, that's shorthand for you are supposed to fucking hate this asshole because he fucking microwaved a fucking puppy. You know who microwaved puppies? Hitler. No, he didn't because microwaves did not exist back then. But if they did exist, he probably would have microwaved puppies. Or cats. He hated cats. So he would have microwaved cats. The point is, anyone who microwaves any kind of animal is a fucking asshole. Non-glasses pervert then goes to work, where he talks to glasses pervert and tells him about how he's worried because he woke up at the men's sauna. But glasses pervert, reassures him that that doesn't make him a quote-unquote fruit, which, do people still use that? I mean, I think they say fruity sometimes. But I don't know if that slang for gay people still gets used very often. Fruit. Which, I don't know. If anyone in my audience knows more, is it still used? Is it okay to use? I mean, I imagine it's not okay to use, but, like, how hated is it? I don't know. Thoughts like that, entertain me more than this film. But, his buddy assures him he's not a fruit, and then they accidentally hold hands, but then they laugh because they think it's all a joke because, gay panic is funny. And non-glasses pervert then goes home, where his girlfriend is upset because he's been getting flowers all day from apparently, I'm guessing, all the men that banged him, or that he banged in the sauna as the Queerwolf. One card said, "No pain, no gain, thanks for the gain." Which, I don't know. I like that saying. I will start using that. I'm going to just toss that as a Facebook status update with no context, whatever, and just see what people say. I think it's a good line. Let's get that line going. But he doesn't know what's going on because he doesn't remember his night as the Queerwolf, and someone calls him and I couldn't tell if it was a he or she. I'm guessing a he, but it was a very feminine sounding voice. And this film seems to not really care whether someone's gay, transvestite, or an actual woman. It's all the same. And this stranger on the phone thanks him for a good night. And again, gay panic. He hangs up the phone and goes running because gay panic is funny. Not. So then he goes to see the gypsy, which I'm glad that we got to see her again. I don't know why. I just figured she could give some answers, but she did not give answers as far as to my questions. But she tells him that the only way to break the curse of the queerwolf is death. Which, yeah, I guess just like a werewolf. But the only way to kill a queerwolf is to shove a silver dildo up his ass. Let me repeat. The only way to kill a queerwolf is to shove a silver dildo up his ass. I've seen better plot points in porn parodies. In fact, it's kind of reminding me of this film I once saw, porn film, Muffy the Vampire Slayer, which, as you can guess, was a parody of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but of the movie, because this was before the TV show started. So it was a parody of the movie, which did not do all that well. So the fact that someone decided to parody it into a porn, and not even really so much parodying it, because they did absolutely nothing of the plot line. It was just, there's some vampires, they're gonna kill the vampires, but in the meantime, here's lots of fucking. But the thing that always, stuck out with me, as far as that film, is the fact that they were gonna kill the vampires using silver dildos. Which just was so all over the place, silver doesn't kill vampires. Dildos don't kill vampires. So silver dildos certainly will not kill a vampire. And it's not even like they tried very hard. Because it was all women. They held the silver dildos. They went to the vampires. And the vampires were like, let's get it on. And then they fucked. So I give Muffy the Vampire Slayer a half thumbs up for plot. Where was I? Oh yes, silver dildo in the ass will kill a queerwolf. That's actually more believable though than a silver dildo killing a vampire. Just so we're straight. No pun intended. So, but there is another way to break the curse of the queerwolf. But I wasn't paying attention, and I'm not going to rewind to find out. I'm going to assume that he's going to try this other way, and so I'll eventually learn what it is. But I'm guessing that other way is not going to work, and they're going to go the silver dildo up the ass route. So it's nighttime again, and Non-Glasses Pervert is wearing an amulet of some sort, some giant fucking ugly thing that I guess is meant to protect him from becoming a queerwolf. And it does work, because the full moon comes out, and he wants to bang his girlfriend. Which, means he's not queer, right? So he wants to just fucking get it on with his girlfriend, and they're about to get it on when there's a doorbell ring. And, well, girlfriend has to check it out to make sure it's okay. Could be important. And you know what? It is important because it is the torch-wielding mob again. Which, seriously, these guys are the fucking most polite mob ever. They ring the doorbell. They're not, even knocking loudly. They're very fucking considerate. They are the true heroes of this film. Fuck Non-Glasses Pervert. He deserves to be killed. Yeah, he fucking microwaved the puppy. So don't come at me about it. Yeah, he should be killed. She won't let them come into the door, though. Because, she's gonna get it on. She has no time for this nonsense. She doesn't believe that, there's anything wrong with her boyfriend. So they decide that they're gonna sneak around back. And they look through the window, and Non-Glasses Pervert and his girlfriend are getting it on. And the mob decides, you know what, let them fuck first before they try to kill him. Like I said, these guys are so super fucking considerate. I love them. I want a spin-off movie about these guys. So now that the sex is over and they've fallen asleep, the mob decides to come in through the window. They don't break the window either, so the window was just left open, which I don't know. I wouldn't leave the window open knowing that there was a queer wolf out on the prowl. But at the same time, girlfriend doesn't know the queer wolf's out on the prowl. She doesn't know what a queer wolf is. And technically, he wouldn't even be on the prowl because he's in bed next to her. But what I'm saying is that the mob is very considerate in coming in through the window. They don't smash anything. And they're about to shove the silver dildo up his ass. But then they start questioning, is it really the queer wolf? Because he doesn't look fruity and it's a full moon. So they think, well, maybe it's the girlfriend. Maybe the girlfriend's really a guy who's turned into a woman because it's the full moon, and queer wolf may or may not turn into a woman. But they see that she doesn't have a penis, so she can't be the queer wolf either. So they do a little jig on their way out. I love these guys. I want more of this mob. I'm going to find out who made this film, write a letter to them, and ask him if he could make a sequel about this mob of torch wielders that are very super considerate and will do a jig as an apology for trying to murder you. Now it's the next morning, and the torch-wielding mob of very super considerate people call Non-Glasses Pervert and offer to take him out to dinner because they feel really bad about the previous night of trying to kill him. Because like I said, they are super considerate. And yes, this actually is just a ruse to try to get him out to kill him. But not to kill him unless... only if they can prove that he is the queer wolf. So they're hoping to see, like, okay, we'll take him out. It's the full moon again. We'll know for sure if he turns into the queer wolf or not. And if he doesn't, well, at least the dinner will smooth things over. I am telling you, these guys are super polite. And it's actually a good plan, too. Take him out to dinner. He's not the queer wolf. All good. He's the queer wolf. You're right there to kill him. Shove the silver dildo up his ass at the restaurant. Now, the mob brought their torches to dinner, which might seem a little excessive, but, keep in mind, they aren't sure if he's the queer wolf or not, so I guess they need to be prepared just in case. And they also brought in Glasses Pervert to dinner, who's there with the black girl he was with from earlier, so I'm glad to see that, they've stuck together. I thought it was going to be a one-night stand, but apparently, it worked out between them. So, then there's a robbery, which... The robbery, which has these guys come in with their guns ablazing, taking all the money, taking everyone's wallets, and they want the medallion. Because even though it looks really cheap, they figure it must be worth lots and lots of money. But of course, Non-Glasses Pervert doesn't want to give it up, because that's the only thing that's keeping him from becoming the queer wolf. So, robbers, when they put you at the point of, give us the medallion or we're going to kill you, even if it's a bluff, the guy calls the bluff, you got to shoot him at that point, though, or else everything just falls apart. So he shoots him, but it does not kill Non-Glasses Pervert, and he recalls the words of the gypsy who tells him that a queer wolf cannot be killed by conventional methods, including a gun. And so he's turned into the queer wolf, which has led to all the other guys in that restaurant to attack him, except for for Glasses Perv, who just seems completely unfazed by everything, and his date also unfazed. Which, I guess, good for them. They seem a little more open-minded. That their friend just became a drag queen. But so the guys attack him, and he starts biting them all, and they all become queer wolves, which is more than the torch wielders can handle. Emboldened by the fact that he did not die, Non-Glasses Pervert grabs the gun from the criminal, and he saves the day, and the cops come and arrest the bad guys, and the press reporter is there wanting to get pictures, but Non-Glasses Pervert is too busy making out with his girlfriend. But finally, they separate. But when they try to separate, his amulet and her necklace get tangled together, and the amulet medallion thingamajig comes breaking off. Remember, the thing that keeps him from being a queer wolf. Oh no, what will people think of their hero if he's a queer wolf? Which, remember, this is a hero who microwaved a puppy. I would be more concerned that he microwaved the puppy rather than the fact that he's a queer wolf. The queer wolves have overtaken the torch wielders and turned them into queer wolves, and the priest that was part of that mob becomes a nun, because I guess, he becomes the woman cross-dressing thing. Do I have to explain that one? That one's kind of obvious. But Non-Glasses Pervert, he's running for his life, and he's running towards the gypsy. The gypsy says that she can help cure him because she has sought out the help of a pexorcist. Like an exorcist, but a pecker. And so they tie up Non-Glasses Pervert to let the pexorcism begin. The pexorcism seems to consist of dousing him with Budweiser and then throwing pictures of manly men at him, like pictures of Burt Reynolds and Sean Connery and Mr. T, which I don't really understand that part, because that would make me more gay and not less gay, because those are very attractive men. And you throw a picture at me and force me to look at them, I might get chub. I'm just saying. And that's just going to set me down on a slippery slope. And, okay, it's not going to turn me gay. But if I'm already at the point of being gay, it's just going to make me more gay. It's not going to cure the gayness out of me. Because if I want dick, and you put me a picture of Burt Reynolds, classic mustache Burt Reynolds, it's just going to make me want dick even more. It's going to make me want Burt Reynolds' dick. And you know what? I'm not even gay, and I want Burt Reynolds' dick. Alive Burt Reynolds, not dead Burt Reynolds' dick. But the pexorcism fails, because Non-Glasses Pervert does manage to free himself and kill the gypsy and the priest. Which, look, now that they've tried to pexorcise him, he's become a killer. When he was just a queer wolf, he wasn't hurting anyone. In fact, he was pleasuring people. A lot of gay men had a good night when he was the queer wolf. But no, they gotta fight and try to get that queer wolf out of him. And what happens? People die. And then Non-Glasses Perv makes his way home, and he's back to normal. And his girlfriend arrives, and she says, "You're home!" And he says, "I'm not a homo!" Keeping it in line with this film's great sense of humor. But they see it's still the full moon, so he has been cured. The pexorcism, although I saw online somewhere, it actually was fagorcism, which is worse. But whatever it was, it worked. And he's cured now. But then he gets a visit from the homicide detective. Remember that? I thought they had completely just written that off and it was a one-off joke. But no, the homicide, not homicide, homicide division is very much a real thing in this universe. And he gets arrested for the murder of the gypsy. Just the gypsy, not the murder of the priest. Which is kind of weird, if you think about it. Shouldn't he have been tried for double homicide? But so he gets sent to jail, and this is all happening under the credits, though. Like Fade to Black, this is just all voiceover at this point, which I don't know if was it like a last-minute idea and they just didn't have the money to go and record this or be able to get the rights to use like a courtroom to film in. But he gets sent to jail, and his jail cell mate, he's in jail with one or both of the hillbillies from his dream earlier, and they're gonna make him squeal like a pig. And that's where we end off. Um, I don't know if there's a post credits scene because my streaming service cut off, and I'm not going to bother going back in and fast forwarding all the way just to see if there's a end credit scene. This film does not deserve it. Yeah, I'm not sure what I think of it. I mean, the casual homophobia and transphobia. I don't think it was like malicious. I don't think the film really hated gay people or trans people. It just thought it was funny because it was the 80s and people thought that just being dicks to people who weren't white straight males was the rage. So, I mean, from a 2021 lens, it is definitely just horribly offensive. From a late 80s lens, not offensive, I guess, but also not funny, I think, even by those standards. So it was just horrible. This is one of those films you're gonna be glad that I watched instead of you. But yeah, any comments or suggestions? Anything you want me to try to watch in the future? Just hit me up, velvetal@hotmail.com, or leave a comment on YouTube if you're watching it through YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe if you want. I don't think it really makes much difference to me. And if you're listening podcast, I don't know, is there a way to subscribe on the podcast? Possibly if you can, if you want. I don't know. I just come back and listen next week.